Welcome back to Business and Politics. We're talking to Ms. Marianne Pastrana of Fast Cats. Ma'am, do you sense that in the Philippines, despite the fact that we live in 7,000 islands, right? We're an archipelago, that the mindset of people is not really focused on the sea. We're a maritime nation, but in our minds, we seem to be focused inland.
Yes.
Right? Is that your sense?
Yes,
How do we change that? What do we do about that?
I know. It's sad, no? But I guess we just don't stop creating awareness on maritime. In fact, we created this campaign called Anytime Maritime.
Anytime Maritime.
Yeah, in the hope that everybody starts thinking maritime, because we need to, no? With this blue economy, we're missing out if we don't have a paradigm shift.
Sure.
No, so I feel, thank you for your support in the maritime, no?
Sure.
Honestly, we feel that in our industry, kulang kami sa pansin. So you giving us this time to talk about maritime is already a big step, and we would like to thank you for that. And what we're doing right now is getting all the maritime stakeholders to come together and then get the conversation going. And then support each other so that together we can have a stronger maritime industry and have that foothold in the international scene. No? So we know that we are the fourth biggest shipping shipbuilding.
In tonnage, I think.
In tonnage, and then manning capital of the world in terms of ratings. So we want to be able to really have a grip of that and be a strong, have a strong foothold on that. And how do we make that happen? By really focusing on maritime. So whether it's education or shipbuilding or manning or domestic shipping, I think, yes, we have to create the awareness and refocus, reframe, and start thinking about maritime.
In the Philippines, and we were talking about this earlier, the mindset seems to be that if you are traveling, right, and you are in a lower income bracket, then you go by sea, right? But if you can afford, then you fly, right? But you were just on a trip abroad. You went to New York, Boston. And we were just talking about, your experience because you do try the ferry systems in other countries, and therefore everyone, not just the poor people. In fact, it can be a very pleasant and a very classy way to travel and see. Can you talk about that? What are some of the things that we can learn from what you've seen abroad?
Yeah. So, example, in London. In their main river ways.
In the Thames?
Thames River ferries. So because they did that connection, the undeveloped areas are now developed. Mala Rockwell.
Wow.
Yeah, and then real estate prices have gone up.
Right.
So was in New York, no?
Right.
From downtown Manhattan, they have ferries that connect to the other islands up to New Jersey. And again, it brought up real estate prices because it's convenient for people to live in another island and then go to Manhattan. So convenient. And so we are invited to also do the same, no? Also like for Pasig River, if we can just make that happen. But as I was saying, it's not enough just to think about the design, but you think about the system.
Whole system,
the whole system. Now for inter-island travel, again, it's the road network, the ports, the design of the ports that will really accommodate the ships, and then the local government unit support, and of course the riding public. So in other ferry companies, like in Canada, for example, they also make the ship their vessels for research. So like research what's under the water where they are traversing or sailing. They also use it for education. Well, in FastCat now, we take in the cadets that are taking up marine transportation. So we're able to help that segment too.
I see.
So we have a backlog of that. So if we just, again, combine our efforts, our minds, together with Jed, Marina, and then help these young maritime transportation students to graduate and get their baccalaureate degrees and serve in the domestic fleet and then serve abroad because they are in demand, that will already be a big help. So yeah, there's just a lot of potential.
So, one of the things that will be happening soon is, of course, the President's second State of the Nation address.
Yes.
Right? And I'm sure his team are now in the middle of composing his speech. If you had, an opportunity to talk to them, what are some of the things that you would like to hear President Marcos say with regard to maritime and maybe the whole sector in general?
Yeah, before I think during the election, we invited him, the Philippine Inter-Island Shipping Association. Yeah, invited him, and we asked about his views in the maritime industry, and he sort of gave his support. And I think the people in the maritime industry appreciate his efforts in the push for the EMSA issue. Getting the assurance of the EU that the Philippines is not removed from the white list is a big help. But of course, there's still much to be done, and a lot of support that we can get from government, from of course strengthening the maritime sector, giving it support, attention. So, example for banks. For them to support the maritime industry in funding ships, because it's not easy, it's not cheap. But if they can get government banks to support, Land Bank is already helping us, DBP is already helping us, but still there's many more ships that we need to...
There could be more, right? If there were better systems, right?
Or modernize. So like there's already a law to phase out the wooden hull boats of the fisher folks, but they cannot implement it properly because of funding issues.
They need the financing.
Yeah, the financing. So I just came from a conference abroad on intentional transformation, and one thing I learned there is about being very, very proactive in where we want to go. Looking at our future self and then acting now towards our future self. And in my head, I was thinking I should be talking to banks already and telling them our situation so that we can get more people to come and support the maritime industry, the shipping per se. Make it easier for business people to do this business, get the support it needs so that we have more players and more option for our people.
Now, is the business back from the have you seen a return to pre-pandemic levels both in passenger and cargo, or are we still running a bit behind?
Thank God it's back. People are traveling. There's this travel revenge. And then cargo is also back. Of course, we want more, what we see happening, what we see we need to happen is really the consolidation of goods and analyzing all this cargo so that we become more efficient. On our part, we're doing our digitalization, having our online ticketing system, and really coordinating with the shippers and logistic companies so that we can service them better. And I think more of that is needed to bring down the cost and increase efficiency.
And how do we attract the more affluent to take the ferries? Because ferries are more accessible to more places. Right? I mean, there are airports, of course, but airports there are some pluses and minuses, right? And then certainly ferries are faster. You don't need to be there at the port as much as you would when you're taking a flight, right? But what do you think can be done? Is there something the government can do to promote? Hey, let's visit these places that are not served by airports. You talked about Calbayog, for instance, right? Catbalogan, that area.
Click, being in this business made me know our islands more. The different characteristics of each island and the people, and affluent people ride fast cat. There are people who do this. They're vintage cars and they drive it all over. So they do that. If you take our Batangas Calapan route, all kinds of cars ride us. So people actually use the service, and I think there's not even enough ships to do this, no?
Right.
But I think what government can do is, you know, basic things like signages, you know, the big LED lights.
Simple things,
yeah,
right?
Simple things like saying this is the nautical highway.
Right.
You know, the signages are not enough. Lights on the road. You know, people have to feel safe when taking that road network. And how do you do that, diba? So more lights, maybe police presence.
Right.
One of the things that the Philippine National Police Maritime Group is doing is increasing their presence in the passenger boats, no, like ours. Not only ours, but other boats as well. And I'm so appreciative of that because increasing police presence in the boats will mean people will feel safe and secure, and therefore then they use the network.
Right.
So there, and of course, advertising. So not just talking about it, promotion. Because, you know, do you know that you can actually drive to Katiklan without taking the plane? Take your car, take your family. But then, of course, it will take time, no?
Right.
We are about to connect Mindoro to Palawan. And Mindoreños are so excited about this because then, imagine, to go to Palawan, they don't have to go back to Manila and take the plane, and the fare is kind of expensive.
Sure.
But when we open that road network, they can just drive, go
I'm just
go
curious,
to Palawan.
why is Mindoro seem to be the center of, why not Batangas, or why not maybe Manila even? Is it geography or?
Well, because our business model is short ferry connection.
I see.
Yeah, other shipping companies like Tugoyan, they have the kind of ships that do the long,
But
trips.
even then, they come from Batangas, I think.
Yeah,
right?
they also come from Batangas or Manila, and then they go straight. No?
To
So
Katiklan,
parang, we have different segments,
Yeah.
but somehow with the fast cat, anywhere you go, the boat looks the same, and then short. So it's drive and then sail, drive and sail. So we have 3 nautical highways in the Philippines. So we have the Western, the Eastern, and the Central. So pretty much that's what we connect. Yeah, and I can just share with you a story. So one of the richest honky, Sir Gordon Wu, who put up the highway from Hong Kong to Guangzhou, China, was interested to do this business during the time of President Ramos. But somehow it didn't push through. And somehow we met him, and then we had dinner with him in Hong Kong, and he was telling us about how important it is to connect our islands. And he was saying, Chet, Marianne, if you connect Manila all the way to Mindanao, 27 hours, if you're efficient, 24 hours, then you will be helping farmers.
Absolutely.
To take their harvest and goods in the countryside to Manila in 24 hours. I was in an interview with the people in Department of Agriculture, particularly Agricultural Training Institute, and I asked them a question, Sir, does the speed of the boat have an impact on agriculture and its products? And
absolutely, they're perishable,
Yes, because they're perishable. So this is the impact of the RoRo network, and I feel that it needs more attention, more support, more help with other sectors for it to be sustainable and for it to be successful. And the success of the use of the RoRo network will mean success for our country and our farmers.
Well, I hope Malacanang is listening, so maybe we'll hear something from the president. We'll have to take a quick break. You're watching Business and Politics. We're talking to Ms. Marianne Pastrana.